The filter-free diary. Good afternoon. It is 2:35 and it is way warmer in here than it is out there because it's still doing that sleety thing and it's dank out there and cold as shit. So but that's not the real reason I'm in here doing this. I'm in here beginning season 7 because I have to read this thing because the idea is I'm going to help you understand why those weird things were in the ark, why Aaron's blooming staff and the 10 Commandments and the jar of manna. Yeah, you guys are never gonna believe me about that one, but we're gonna get there. Probably say that one for last. But anyways, the staff. I figure we start with the easiest one, and I know you're probably like, what was a blooming staff? Why is that easy? Bro, you already have the tools. I'm just gonna show you how I stumbled across them because you know the most important reason to remove something from Bible canon? Do you know why material gets excommunicated by the church as well? It's kind of like what we were saying with the Asherah, right? If it's common knowledge that, something can only happen a specific way, then you have to cover up that specific way in order for, in order for your lies to become prevalent. That's a fucked up thing to say, but okay, yes. So that's really why the church is like, oh, this material can stay and this material can't. You know, that book of Enoch got excommunicated, and there are places in Africa that are like, no, we're keeping this, and you know what, you probably should keep this because I don't think I'm gonna go there. That's way too heavy, and honestly, I've given you plenty of symbols where you can dig around on that shit for a while if you want. I did that once upon a time. I did that with a whole bunch of different biblical materials because if you're only ever eating what people want you to eat, then you're only ever going to become what people want you to become. And of course, I have no desire to please people anymore. Like, I'm not gonna go there. So of course I'm trying to see the bigger picture. And about 2 years ago, I stumbled across this thing called the Shepherd of Hermas. And you know why it's called the Shepherd of Hermas is because shepherd is actually an angel. Which really should just fuck with you for a second, because the shepherds in the field that were tending their flocks saw the star. Are you saying there were angels in the field attending their flocks? Anyways, I'm not getting into all that. But the Shepherd of Hermas, and I listened to 4 or 5 hours of it. You can find it on YouTube. That's where I found it. I listened to the whole fucking thing. There are visions. There are like commandment type things, which I don't know. And then there are parables, and I'm going to the parable, and I believe this is parable number 8. Let me just double check the computer real quick. Are you agreeing with me? Yes, parable number 8. And the whole thing is, there's this tree. And this tree is huge, and they cut rods off of this tree, like beams, like 2x4s, like stabs off of this tree, and they're given to people, and people hold on to them through their life, and then at the end of their life they are returning the staff. And I don't know if I can read through all this, but the stabs come back in all different kinds of conditions, right? There are stabs that have, like, bugs have been gnawing on them and eating them. There are stabs that are like dried out and cracked. There are stabs that are like withered, right? There are all kinds of combinations of decay happening in these rods that these people have kept with them. And as you get toward the bottom of the list, you start to find that there are actually some good rods, and that's great. They're like, and others gave up their rods green and with shoots, and their shoots has as if it were a kind of fruit. And those men were exceedingly gladsome. Those rods were found in this state, and over them the angel exulted, and the shepherd was very gladsome over them. So some of these people that are returning these rods are returning them very in better condition than when they got them. And that's really what that rod represents inside the ark. Inside the ark. So I'm not going to go too much more into it, but we do talk about decay a lot, and hopefully that is very obvious to you as soon as we start talking about wood, but I'll let that go and maybe check out The Shepherd of Hermas if you're interested. Have a good afternoon.